Take one. Quiet on set. All right, so I screwed up on you guys. I got the Nussbaum lift in. I got too excited. I've been using it, so sorry I didn't finish up the video. We did a quick install and got everything set up the way it should be. But I wanted to cue you in on how it's going, how it's set up, what you would need to do to finish up the job. Make sure to go watch the video. Byron from Nussbaum USA came and helped us, set the thing up, and so we set it up pretty quickly. It only took a few hours to do. One of the huge advantages of this type of lift, it's a hyperflow design. There's no leveling. All you do is move it up to the top and raise it, lower it down once or twice, and you've got a really sort of level operational setup. But before we get into that, I want to remind you, we did a Ultimate Garage giveaway. We did that just a few months ago. It turned out incredibly well. When I was there, I got a cold. I said, I'm never doing this again. I quit. And then at the end of it, being addicted to the result, just like every time I detail a car, I say I'm never doing that again. And then after it's done, I'm signing up for the next one. Well, we got one rolling. It's live in the store. If we need to do one of these lifts in the garage that you have, then we'll do one. But we're going to set up somebody's Ultimate Garage. Buy some cool stuff. You might actually want anyway. It's on the specific page. And we're going to run it from December 15th to January 31st. And then probably February 1st or 2nd, I'll do a drawing and randomly and pick somebody to fly wherever I got to fly to build somebody's Ultimate Garage. So keep that in mind. If you want one of these things, we're going to be giving somebody whatever they need. They also have the Sprinter version of this, which isn't as tall. So model number on this is the Jumbo HF7. This is built in the U.S. It's built in Carroll, North Carolina, and German engineered. A lot of the parts are coming from from Germany. They do have a German version of this that we could order. It's more money if you wanted to. The main difference is the pump. This is a Bosch pump. The other has the German version of it has an oil immersed pump. It's a little bit quieter than this version, but I opted to just carry the HF7s. That way we can make them in custom colors. We can order them and have them in relatively short order most of the time. And so to me it makes sense that, this thing is gosh darn amazing. So a couple of things to note when you order this, check with Kyle and Tommy and Jeff. That comes with, I think it's, what was it? How many inches was this? Let me measure that so you can have that. So it comes with 39 inches of extra track. Now if you notice, I needed another 17, and so we can custom order it and set it up to where if you need some more of the hose hider, hydraulic hose hider stuff, the galvanized, that we can do another piece. And then I kind of screwed up. I'm the guinea pig here, so I'm falling on the sword for all of us. If you need more than that, and this one doesn't quite match, so I need to get another piece that matches specifically in order to get our box in the right place. The other thing that I didn't take into account, and you saw us kind of temporarily put it together in the install video, is this is 208 volts. So we ran 240 or 220. So you can see I had to ugly up my walls because there's fire breaks in the wall that we couldn't get through, and so we hardwired it directly to the to the unit. So just something to keep in mind. And then if you need us to extend the ramp, so I haven't bolted this down yet, but if you need us to extend the ramp, then you need to extend the hydraulic hoses, and so we can get those for you as well. But this cost, what is it, Kyle? $79.90. Say $8,000. The way that it works is you buy it, or just email us and we'll get it set up for you. You buy it. If you want a different color, I think it's what is it? Do we know what it costs to do other colors? $500, $600, $700, depending on what color you pick, something like that. We'll get a price for you. And then it comes standard in this blue color, which I think is pretty awesome. It's, as long as it's not baby blue, I like this color much more. You place the order, and then we get a shipping quote to you, and it's going to, just keep in mind, it's going to cost you $3, $4, $5, $6, $8, $100,000 depending on where you are in the world to get it shipped to you. But when I look at something like this, it's a once-in-a-lifetime purchase. It comes on a crate. We'll need liftgate service, and you'll need something pretty stout to get it in place. But usually, when they ship it to you, if they have a forklift on the truck or a pallet jack, you can pallet jack it right into place. But that's how we set the thing up. So let me talk you through kind of how mine's set up here and show you some of the features and we'll get you up to speed on this lift. So scissor lifts in general, so think about this logically. When you're, if you old school guys are panicking here saying, why would anybody do a scissor lift? Look at how much room we have you could drop a transmission, you could access the drive shaft, you can get to subframes, but we set it up, you have 30 and 3/4 inches in between. So you have this much room in between to drop a bell housing out. The bell housing is going to fit out of there. All of your stuff in a front wheel or a front engine car is easily accessible. In a Porsche, rear engine, even mid-engine, pretty much everything is accessible on a scissor lift. But the main advantage for guys like me who are posers is that I can get all the way around the car, so I can access the whole thing. And then most of the cars I'm driving are lowered, and so we'll talk about the approach ramps here in a minute. But for instance, we're going to put the Civic on the lift. The Civic, the jack points are a little wider than this, where the Porsche, the jack points fit inside of the main frame here. And so these extension ramps, you simply lift up, pull the support in place, and now we've just extended it by 11 3/4 inches. It's kind of like a leaf in your table, Thanksgiving when you get it out. And so same thing here, we lift up, we pull the support frame like that, and now we've added another 11 inches, so you can fit an SUV. I just had a Tahoe up on this. This is 7,000 pound capacity, so you have 81 inches from jack point to jack point. And actually SUVs, Ford F-150s, F-250s, they have a frame rail that runs right down the side, so you could, a lot of times, don't even need the extensions. But this is 7,000 pound capable, and I normally hate diamond plate, but for whatever reason, and I already scratched it up, it's inevitable, it's part of the deal. But the powder coat on this is really pretty darn nice. And then each ramp is 25.5 inches or 25.25 inches wide. And so when you're setting it up, the other thing I would suggest, if we do approach ramps, this time I set it up to where I can lift the ramps up without having to lift the lift out of the way. And to put the ramp back down, I just simply do this, push the frame back in, and the spring-loaded ramp hangs in position. So actually, let's set it up for the Civic, because I'm going to put the Civic on here and show you how it works. And that, and this. And so the beauty of operation of this lift is that there are no limit switches, there's no leveling. So as soon as you fill it with hydraulic fluid, it self-levels. Just go up once to the top, and everything levels out on its own. And so to operate this, the way it works is I simply pull up and I push back to go up, pull up, pull down to go down. There's no adjustment, there's no playing, it's literally turnkey. The hydraulic lines are all connected, so if the 39 inches is long enough for you, then there's no need to do anything. You just put a few gallons of hydraulic fluid in it. We put 2.5 gallons in, and it functions perfectly. So approach ramps. The reason you need these approach ramps is because on a lowered car, this is 4 inches from floor to top. Now we've eliminated 3/4 of an inch because we have the Swiss Trax flooring, but these approach ramps are 2 inches tall, and so it makes it only a 2-inch approach. You need room in order to be able to get a jacking block or a whatever you call it, a subframe block, because you don't want to lift the car up because you'll damage side moldings in the car and hit things you're not supposed to hit. So you want to find the jack points, put a block underneath it so you can lift the car up. And so again, the Civic needs this extension because of the distance with jack points, but my Porsches don't. And so our approach ramps are designed or set up so you can reach in here, lift up, and we have a gap of about, as you get it as close and as tight as possible. But the way I set it up is that we lined it up so that I wouldn't hit and that I can lift and set my extension ramp in place. And believe it or not, this little 1 inch, 1.5 inch gap here, the car drives right over it, no problem. But your tires sit on the approach ramps, which gives you more room. Now, regular cars, SUVs, regular height cars, doesn't matter, but for all of us who are doing lowered cars, you're gonna need an approach ramp. And I want these fixed, I want these on the ground. I don't wanna have to bring in some race ramp or something like that if I can help it. We should have these up in the store here soon. I think, do we know what these are gonna cost? 500 bucks, something like that?
Like 800 for those, 820 I think.
820-ish for these, and then...
For the smaller Sprinter ones because they're fully custom.
Got it. So we're also building for the Sprinter. They're $1,000. They're a little pricier than the Chinese built one because they're building these. These are coming out of Germany. The Sprinters are coming. We're building them in North Carolina. They're building them. So let's get the car on here and show you how it works. You can see. Actually, before I do that, let me show you the underside of this. There's not really anything remarkable you need to know. Because this has a more stout engine, this is a 220 volt or 208 volt versus the the Twin Busch is just a normal 15 amp plug-in. It goes up and down quite a bit brisker. It's faster. And so if you didn't watch the video and you're going to buy one of these, I would highly suggest you do. Watch. Byron gives us all the information. He's been selling these lifts for decades, these type of lifts. But this lift doesn't need air, and that makes some people nervous because there's no airlock on this design. So that's all you do to level it. You go up to the maximum height. So there's no limit switch either, and then it goes up and it just stops. Whereas the Twin Busch would hit the limit switch and I'd get stuck and couldn't get it off and have to go and manually release they take apart the machine and manually release it. So you have a master and a slave, and then you have a line that connects the master to the slave on either side, so you have redundancy. So we have hydraulic redundancy that doesn't allow for these to go down one at a time. They both have to go down at the same time. They both have to go up at the same time. Even if you cut both lines, the other safety mechanism, yes, the car's going to come down if for some reason you cut both lines at the same time or you cut all the lines, but there's a really small orifice that allows the fluid to flow. So if you cut the line off, the car's going to come down equally, but it's going to come down at the same speed as if you went and pulled the lever. So there's no need for air. It's a redundant system. If for some reason you absolutely felt like you had to have it, I think it's another $1,000, but we can order you the airlocked version. But for this, there's not really any need for that because of the hydraulic redundancy that we have. But the biggest advantage of this, I'm 6'2", and so notice I'm underneath the lift. Add another couple of inches for a lift block, and so you're about 80 inches off the ground, so I can easily walk under my Civic we're about to put in the air, or Porsche or BMW. I don't know if I had the balls to put my Raptor up this high, but I guess technically you could. Raptor weighs about 5,500 pounds, 6,000 pounds, so you could theoretically put it on here. I don't know, it would make me nervous to go that high, but you theoretically could put. put it up there. Now they also have a 9,000 pound version, so if you are going to be lifting trucks and stuff like that, I think the footprint of the HF9 is the same, the Jumbo 9, but I think that one's about 11,000. I'm going to put the 9,000 pound lift in my house, I think, and I'm going to recess it in the ground, so I'll show you what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, this thing is, I'm really, really pleased at how it turned out. The fit, the finish, German engineered. It doesn't look much different than a Chinese-made lift, but it just operates differently. So this is what I've always wanted, and the pricing on these have come down, 20, 30%. This one used to be 11, 12,000 bucks. So the pricing, because they're building in North Carolina now, makes it, although it's 2 times more than the Twin Bushes, it's still, it's not out of reach for something you're going to buy, for the rest of your life. It's not 20,000 bucks to get one of these, which, you might think could be the case. The only thing I don't like, which I need to figure out, is these stupid cap head bolt covers to hold these down. I don't like these things sticking out. Trip over them, but I'll figure something out for that. And the other thing that's possible is that we could, in the future, build something that isn't so big. I don't know that you'd really need that much room to run 3 hydraulic lines. But it does look clean. It does look pretty. And you can cut around the switch tracks. I've rolled carts over it. It rolls pretty nicely. The other thing I'd like to see eventually also is that our approach ramps were 2 3/4 height, because sometimes my GT4 is really low, so sometimes it's a little harder to get the pucks underneath it. But other than that, I'm really pleased with how this is doing. Also, me being the guinea pig, mine got beat up a little bit in shipping, so we've identified some things like stickers are crooked and stuff like that, that I'm yelling at them about, to make sure that if the lift shows up to you, that you don't have any dings or scratches or anything like that on your $8,000 lift. It's tricky because these are built for dealerships, professional and body shops and stuff like that, where they don't care about that kind of fit and finish. They just want it to work. We in our homes want these things to be perfect. So I'm going to work with them. We're going to work with them over time to make sure that we can get it to you as pretty as possible. So let's put the Civic on here, show you how this thing works, and you guys just need to start buying these things. I think we sold 11 of them over Black Friday weekend, so we're off to a really good start. I'm certainly in love. It will go down a lot faster with the car on it. So one of the nice things about a scissor lift is it's a lot easier to approach, especially when we have our approach ramps. Even though this car's pretty darn low, I can just drive right up over it, even with the extensions lifted out. I'll generally just open up the door, kind of guide myself. I'd like to come over a little bit to the left. And it's nice on a scissor lift because it kind of, you know where you're at, because the car rolls off of the, rolls up onto the ramp, off the ramp, and just kind of sits in position. And then I'll just leave the car out of gear because it's level. I don't know how straight I am. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but I'll leave the car, if your floor is level, I'll leave the car out of gear with the e-brake off, and then I can just kind of roll it into position. So I'll feel my jack point, which is right here. And my other jack point is right here. And so that's why the extension, is lifted up. One of the mistakes I made on the Twin Busch was that I put these underneath so that the transition would be smoother. But now, I can lift these up. I'll just push the pin back down. I can lift it up even with the car here in position. So they give us these foam blocks which work pretty well. So it's a really stiff foam, which you put underneath here like this, which works. I have some old, I've gathered a bunch of these over the years, a bunch of different types of blocks, but I'm gonna use these on the Civic here. I've had this car up in the air so many darn times, I know exactly where it needs to go. But you kind of learn the spot over time where it needs to be. And then what I'll do is put it back in gear, pull the e-brake, because when you drop the car, it'll want to shift forward. All right, so we're on. What I'll generally do is lift it roughly that high, just walk around, check out, make sure everything looks good, make sure we're in position, shake the car a little bit. And we're up. I actually came a little too far over to the left, but everything looks good. Car looks nice and level. We can go up. Yeah, what'll happen on a scissor lift, so I'm a little further to the left than I'd like to be. On a heavier car, the scissor lift will start to bow in. So you really want to get it centered if you can. See, I have like 10 inches here and 20 inches on this side. But we still have another 8 inches on the inside of the lift here as well. So we're fine. So the beauty of this from a detailing perspective, or doing any kind of molding or body work, is that now, I have full access to the car. I don't have some beams in the way, and I can polish the lower sections of the car. I can get in here, and you can do that on a scissor lift as well, and access all of this. But I don't have this beam in the way. I can stand here. I can access the car completely. I think it's easier to get on. It's safer. The only disadvantage is you have these posts or these things in the way of the underside of the car, but I mean, how much stuff are you doing in that little area? I mean, it's very, very rare. We'll show you down the center of the car here once I get it up in the air. But you can also see the speed at which this goes up is quite a bit quicker. No matter how many times I do this, it always still makes me nervous going up this high in the air. But now, it's not even all the way up. I'm 6'2", and I can walk under the car, completely reach all the exhaust components, get all the subframe, do anything I need to do underneath the car. And I could change exhaust, deal with pretty much anything. So obviously you need to take into consideration what's your ceiling height, right? And so we have 16-foot ceilings in here. But you'd need, probably at least 12 feet of ceiling height in order to fit. You figure this car is about 58, 59 inches high, actually probably 55 inches high, when sitting on the tires on the ground. So, it's a little less than that sitting on the lift here. But you've got to take that into consideration when figuring out full rise versus mid rise. The mid rise lift goes up 40 inches. If it were me, what you'd do is you just set it up. You'd set up a maximum height, know what that was, and that's how I would set up my my full rise lift. So even if I could only get 55 inches out of it, I think it'd still be worth it. But notice I can get a full tunnel here. I can drop if this had a drive shaft down the middle, we could do that. I can access the exhaust, and then I don't have any of the deficiencies of the poles on the side, as well as having it sitting on the ground, or in a perfect world, putting it in ground. It is even better, and I can go up another few inches as well if I needed to. But that's the lift. Here's how it comes down. Comes down about the same speed it goes up, maybe a little bit faster. We used 3/8 inch sized. We used 3/8 inch size concrete anchors, sleeve anchors. So here's what we used on the lift to mount that. We used 1/2 inch sleeved anchors to do this type of anchor, like this. 1/2 inch by 4 1/4. And then I did 3/8 by 3 inch for our approach ramps. Each ramp has 4 holes. So that's what we used to mount it. Really simple. So you're gonna get, the only thing you need to buy for this is AW32 hydraulic oil. Get 3, and 3 is probably overkill, 2 would be fine. Remember, if it goes up and down, you've got enough oil in it. It's not like oil is lubricating, it's just that's the oil that's going in the hydraulic lines. You just need hydraulic fluid, hydraulic oil, and that's it. You need some 1/2 inch anchors, some 3/8 inch anchors if you're going to do the approach ramps. You need, and then these, the whatever you call it, the hiders, we used 1/4 inch anchors. So 3/8 1/4, I used about 6 of these, 6 or 8 of these, 2, 4, 6, 7 1/4 inch sleeved anchors for the hiders. And then we cut the Swiss tracks to fit. So that's really all you need for it. And you probably want some pry bars, better pry bars, crowbars than what I had to get it set into place. But really, if you're not cutting Swiss tracks around it, then you don't have a whole heck of a lot of work to do. The approach ramps we decided to put on top of the Swiss tracks gained us another 3/4 of an inch for our Porsches and things like that are lower. And because the weight is distributed, it shouldn't really sink or cut into the Swiss tracks at all. But yeah, Nussbaum HF7, super pumped, highly, highly recommend it. Buy it from me if you can, it certainly helps. And go get yourself entered into the garage giveaway if you're watching this in December and January 2020-21, and we might be putting one of these in your garage for you. So anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for the support. If you keep buying this stuff from me, I'm going to keep working with these professional grade manufacturers to make the stuff better and provide it to us as the consumer, rather than just focused on commercial stuff. I know I want commercial grade stuff in my amateur garage, and I think many of you do too. And then shoot, if you do have a dealership or something like that, I can probably provide you more information than anybody else. So anyway, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. I got more cool stuff like this coming. Sprinter 7 is also an awesome mid-rise option. So I'll catch you soon. Thanks for watching.